Hi, it's Sonia and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am going to do another sketchbook tour today. There's a couple of reasons for this. This one's been hanging around, ready to look through, and so I was like, let's just get it done. And also I had a comment at the weekend that made me think about how I use sketchbooks, and I thought, well, it's a good opportunity to reflect on it with this one. This is from 2021 to like 2023, though I have just recently stuck some stuff at the back. It's one of my sort of like cheap craft sketchbooks. I had a pack of 3 of that I've got through, and with sketchbooks, sometimes when I start them, I didn't really know how this one was going to go. I knew the paper was cheap, so I was like, let's not be precious about it. It started off, I think these are photos of the kids, so I sketched from photos. But it's a very rough and I would say rustic sketchbook. And yeah, just to say, so I think sometimes, comments that make you think about your process, it's not always a bad thing to reflect. And I think in some ways I feel quite assured where I'm at. That's why I'm able to share as I do all my work on YouTube and Instagram. But I can see from the outside, for some people, you might sometimes look at, for example, look at this page here, at my sketchbooks, and they are, a lot of them. I think you can see if you go through my playlist of sketchbook tours, there's quite a variety. Some are rougher and more rustic than others. So now we're getting into, just to say, I think I start to change my approach. I've decided I was going to use this as a sketchbook for live sketches, trying not to go back to photos when I'm out and about. And this was with a rainbow, not a very good rainbow pencil, on holiday. So yeah, sketching a beach. I'll try and maybe zoom up a bit. These are just like pencil sketches. But when you are out and about, if you're going to make a sketch, you have to accept you're not going to have much time to capture people's lines. It is going to be a very rough gestural sketch sometimes, and but this is probably, now we're coming into, I think we're in Costa Rica, so this is with a Pentel brush pen. There's quite a few of these sketches because this Pentel brush pen, where is it in my pen thing? These are fun. I mean, I've gone through a couple once because I've lost one, but they are fantastic because actually, does the ink go through? Not too badly. They're great for on the scene. You can't spend too long with this, I find, or get too detailed, and you can make a quick sketch in 5 minutes. So actually sometimes I had much longer than I needed on a spread. So yeah, these are all pen and ink sketches when we were away, I think in the hotel. So in regards to, to take into account a comment, it was, I think, along the lines of trying to be helpful. Did I ever feel that some of my pieces were rushed, or I wanted to maybe, look at getting better in my skill level and making progress, like, doing lighter pencil sketches and rubbing things out. And so, to be fair, that is a super fair comment. And the reality is, just to also share here, in case anybody else is wondering this, so I think you can have different sketchbooks. The one I'm showing you now is a very quick, rough and rugged one, and I'm really happy with these sort of sketches. This is what I like. Often I like these sketches more than when I do spend 2 hours on a much more precise, laboured sketch, but that's just me. And I think the great thing about art is there is such a spectrum. Even though in some ways you could argue there's only so much, a lot of art is similar and a lot of people have similar tastes, there's also a lot of people who have wide-ranging tastes. And, you can even go into, there's not even just drawing and painting, you've got performance art, sculpture. So I don't take for granted that don't think my taste is that unique, but my taste is sometimes not other people's tastes. And I guess that's where I have to be a little bit careful, where I could be vulnerable to suggestion, to changing my tact, is because obviously when we grow up, like family influences, environmental influences, cultural influences, there can be sometimes a pushing for us to embrace what is the trend, what's popular, what's in hashtag skillful, not hashtag, what are we talking about? Quote marks, in quotation marks. What is skillful drawing as opposed to unskilled, I guess, or bad drawing? What is good art? What is bad art? Like, there's so many judgments, I feel, and in some places we have to accept that is right. Like, if I enter a drawing competition, and I've entered competitions, some I've done well at, some I haven't, then those judges, of course, are going to make their interpretation. They're going to have criteria over what is good art. I mean, if you enter a hyper-realistic, I get this, maybe, I mean, what are we talking about? More traditional, skillful drawing competitions. This is not it, is it? This is not gonna... These are quick sketches, loose, they're spontaneous. And yes, I agree. I am, a lot of the time, I think my art does show that I am rushed, or I was rushed. Because if you go through, I've got sketchbooks that show when I've had a few hours to paint, when the kids are asleep, and those are hyper detailed. And I've spoken about them, my like gouache sketchbooks. And then you can see, like, I think this great thing about sketchbooks, they are so personal. And I think I am grateful to artists. Every artist that does a sketchbook tour is letting you in to something they could, in theory, many people keep private. And I know, so yeah, I think, because even if we try and make them generic or impersonal, somehow, especially if you're keeping it over the time period that you're keeping a sketchbook, like, comes into it. So the sketch, especially ones which are more sketching your life, if you've got young children who are caring and you've got 10 minutes, 5 minutes, it's going to show. You're going to see that period of your sort of life, as it were, as you flick through. So these are on holiday sketches, and this is like a volcano. And so for me, these are done on scene, they're super quick. But I actually was really glad I did make the effort to bring some, art supplies and make these quick sketches. I think this was trying to show, like, the clouds coming over. And here's the other thing with me. I know that hopefully, for those who want to hopefully some people are like, oh my gosh, this sketchbook, I can do better than this girl. Or I should say woman, I'm not a girl. But I can do better than this artist. And that's good. I mean, that's the thing. If you can compare up and be inspired to want to do a better sketch that I don't think you want to always be confronted with perfect sketchbooks, because that could sometimes be so there's a sketchbook tour for everybody. But just to reassure anybody, I am aware, I'm not at all trying to say that these are what's the word, skillful, considered sketches. It isn't to say, and I was thinking about this as well when I was thinking about it, it isn't to say that I won't want to go there in the future, because say I have much more time, like, and again, this is an art channel, all I'm showing is art channel. Obviously I want to keep other things in my life private, I've got other commitments and stuff like that, but like, should I ever have long stretches of time by myself, then maybe I would want to slow down and work on one piece for hours, but that's just not, if you want the truth and to be if I'm going to be myself, that's not me at the moment. I really love how I'm making art, my process, because it gives me such variety. Art is fitting into my schedule, so I make the art that's going to fit into where I'm at. And, I know now what art I can make in half an hour. I know that I can go out and sketch on scene with that brush pen, because it really speeds me up. And I love this sketch. I mean, this is my sort of art. Now this page is not finished, but that's fine. It was my son in a hammock. He moved. Yeah, and if I don't like, I could. If you've got much space, you could paper over and. You know, I do also take into account that also if you're doing fast loose art, you do end up with a greater volume of stuff. The other thing I love about all this now, and the fact that I'm getting more attracted to loosening up, to, what did I read? It was called faux naive, to more expressionistic art, is that it's like, oh yeah, so it's come back to me. Why I think I'm more attracted to, loosening up, it could be age. Sometimes I think you notice also with a lot of the artists as they age in some ways, like Matisse, they sort of, their styles change as well, be it through, medical ailments, eyesight. But for me, I feel with all the technology there is out there, and now, I need to read more on this because I probably buried my head in the sand, but like AI, it just feels even more now. I love things that are blatantly handmade, like actual. I'm sure AI could probably learn my style and reproduce another sketchbook like this, but you like all the bits that don't quite go together. I can see sometimes the sketch, there's bits that work and I can see the bits that don't work, and sometimes I do cover up those areas, with if it really bugs me. But actually I don't mind keeping, I like the rusticness, the mistakes. It's done by hand, and I'm not going to say no. One of the reasons I haven't gone on my iPad and done Procreate and stuff is when the kids were little, they always wanted, what it's like, they want a screen. So I kind of like lost my iPad. It's been lost because otherwise it's just easier not to. And I was like, no. And also I think I was yearning, I do a lot of, we all do our admin on our laptops, email. I just wanted to get offline and into something physical. It's the tactility. I've talked about this a lot, so I'm not going to go into it again, but it's a lot of, just for me, maybe as artists, like we are sensitive to what our equipment, what we're using. So yeah, as you can see, I haven't really talked about it because it's apparent as I'm flicking through. But I'm hoping that these are encouraging to look through, because yeah, you don't sometimes it isn't always necessarily about making linear progress in getting more skillful. Sometimes I feel it's actually about getting to be more confident in yourself, in just filling a book how you want to fill it. And knowing what you like and you don't like. So sometimes these really rough sketches are the most also really precious to me, and I wouldn't want to draw over them because the kids are growing and these times are changed. I can sort of, even though they're really rough and no one else will know, I know which is which kid. I can sort of see them in my mind's eye as well, like, because I was observing them, trying to observe them kind of quite intensely at that time. There we go. So yeah, this is really rough. But I did commit to this had to be on scene. So then you have like this one I really like. So obviously I think this is the eldest. He was sitting still because he's hopefully doing as he did. I don't know what he's doing, watching. He's watching something. And I was able to, and I like this sketch. I like the lines. And yes, I could erase some of these lines, but I don't want to in this sketchbook. It's not to be sold. It's not, and even if it was to be sold, I actually think some of the prints I like or artwork I like by artists are more rough and ready. the kids, when they never want their own sketchbooks when we go away. I'm always like, pack your art stuff, and they forget it. But then suddenly, sometimes if we're somewhere and they're, we're staying there a bit longer, like, oh, can I use your art stuff? Can I have a go? So that was one of their drawings with my brush pen. There's a beach, eating dinner. This allowed me, because it is a cheap sketchbook, I just didn't worry so much. And there is something, so it depends also what you want to do. Now, if you want to get really precise and take a long time, I mean, there's so many great tutorials. This is not the art channel for you, is it? I mean, you're going to go to, I can't think of their names because I'm not hugely in, I mean, for me, that's not my, but you can get precise how to draw. Is it the Loom? I've actually got the books. I did try to teach myself this, the Andrew Loomis method. You can see artists really step by step breaking it down, how to do correct proportions, correct. But I also feel that drawing from life, you've got to start somewhere. So my drawings for life aren't at all. These are drawings from life. But I will eventually get better the more I do of them. Whereas if I don't draw from life because I'm like, oh, it's going to be a terrible drawing, then how is that ever really going to change? But these are on holiday, and I like, obviously, some palm trees I struggle a little. How minimalistic can you get? But I didn't want to change that. That was like, there's an island in the background. I think these people are on paddleboarding. Sometimes I think I'll come back and add colour, and then I don't. There's kids sitting on a rock. Were they reading? I think drawing and reading. See, this I like. So this was with Neocolour crayon, and I can tell that I've tried to really quickly depict stairs, sort of the rain, sort of jungle, foliage. Can I add some pink? Now, towards the end, there will be, oh, and then, yeah, a little bit of, I like this. I do want to get back to more drawing, urban sort of sketching, drawing on scene. Oh, that's right. So we went to a soccer match, and then we wandered off for a walk and found this really cool view of the local town from the top of the pitch, because the pitch was quite high up. Then I think this is a recentish one. I remember starting this at the park, and then the youngest wanted to go home. So that's quite fun. Oh, this was at a local art society meeting, so I drew at the back. Right, and then I find finishing sketchbooks, sometimes I'm like, oh, especially because this was a From Life sketchbook and I had so many others on the go. And then I thought to myself, let's just get this done. I want this one finished. And I had all these little bits of paper, which I'll come to, of some from older sketchbooks. So if I really don't love my sketchbooks, I rip them apart, cut out the sketches I like, recycle the other ones. And I thought I'd just stick in some of the ones that I did like into here. It's a sort of a bit of a scrapbook way of filing the pictures. Because I've got too much stuff on paper lying about, really. And so I thought, let's just stick it in. So that's another idea, if you're like me and you do want to... I did want to say, draw a line under this one. Oh, that was such an old drawing of the youngest when he was a baby. And I actually had that one up in a picture frame for a while. It was when I was out urban sketching in London. And the youngest asleep. He used to fall asleep by the stairs. And that's it. So yeah, that's my sketchbook tour from today. It's very rough and rugged, but what I did want to show is just for anybody who wants inspiration. I still really like the sketchbook. It contains a lot of my holiday memories and ideas. Yeah, it's a good one to look at before I go away to remind myself I can take, even just in 3 minutes, depict a scene, but it won't be perfect. And it's, yeah, that's it really for me. Thank you for watching. And I've got a very different sketchbook tour to do from my loose sketchbook, and I've got another flower sketchbook. So yeah, there's a variety here. Different ones will interest different people. But thank you, and I will see you next time. Bye.